Last week on the Poisonrana Patreon, we talked all about the Nation of Domination in a brand new episode of Poison Profile.
I got 3 words. Die, Rocky, die. That's the gratitude I get from you pieces of crap for all my blood, my sweat, and my tears. You know, hey, this isn't about the color of my skin. This is about respect.
There was no real, learning period for them. He was just, as soon as he's a heel, he's got it.
Yeah, and hearing him talk about Vince telling him, what he had to do, he's like, I just gotta go fucking do it. And hearing that delivery, man, is, yeah, you were born a fucking heel. You were never supposed to be a baby face out the gate. You should have just been a heel. But he needed that. He needed to fall on his face. He needed to feel the fans saying, die, Rocky, die, and Rocky sucks and stuff. So, and that just made his promo seem a little bit better.
Yeah, it instantly makes him feel like such a big deal. And for the next year, he's like one of the biggest stars in the mid card, and then after that it's like, oh wait, this guy is, we've got something special with him. It's so crazy how fast he rises to
get this show plus NXT retro reviews, wrestling reviews, movie reviews, and so much more over at patreon.com/PoisonRana, and it's only $5, so what are you waiting for?
What are you waiting for, huh? What are you waiting for?
Poisonrana.
Hello. Oh no, I can't hear you. I'm talking to an empty void.
Hello.
Oh, thought I was on my own there for a second. Just how strange would it be where one day I just say hello and no one answers me.
And I'm no longer there. Yeah.
Not a world I want to live in, friend.
No,
although we're not in the same room right now, so we're separated.
We practically are. We're in the what do they call it? The metaverse? I don't know. The Poisonverse.
That's right. The Poisonverse. Yeah. Hello, everybody. It's Poisonrana. It's Sunday, February 25th, just after 2 p.m. Eastern Time. We're live on youtube.com/@PoisonRanaPod. Hello, anyone in the YouTube chat. Throw your frogs up if you can hear me. And we're going to chat some wrestling. If you're listening on any podcast app that you're listening to, make sure you hit that subscribe, hit that like, hit that download, whatever it is. Thank you for finding us here today. And what's going on?
Not much. I've just come back from a walk. It's pretty sunny today, which is nice.
Sunny,
picked up some cheese. I'm going to treat myself to some cheese and steak later. I'm pretty excited about that.
Cheese? What kind of cheese goes with steak?
No, I mean, these are going to be separate things. I'm going to have the steak, and then later I'm going to munch on cheese.
Right.
Yeah, I worked a lot this week, so today is going to be a kind of treat yourself kind of day. I went to Kensington Market. I picked up an extra mature New Zealand cheddar, and then
not an Australian cheddar for WWE.
No, they offered me an Australian cheddar, and I tried it, and I was like, it ain't strong enough.
Yeah.
I need it a little stronger.
Classic Brit saying Aussies aren't strong enough.
Absolutely. And I was gonna be like, oh shit at cricket as well, but I really don't know. I don't care for sport. And they're probably better than us anyway. And I bought this caramelized onion cheese as well.
Oh, I love it. Yeah, I do.
Oh, the price is so much better. I'm gonna keep going there rather than the supermarket. It's got
you went to Cheese World?
The one on Kensington Avenue.
Yeah, you went to the good one. Yeah. There's some good cheese places. If you're ever in Toronto, we usually take our friends, anyone who's listening, who's like our boys who visited in the past. We've taken them to Kensington. Usually big fans of that whole area, different shops, different foods, and stuff like that. And I pretty much walk through there every day. I go out if possible, but I don't want to live there because then when you live in somewhere you like to visit, I feel like
get over it. Yeah.
But yeah, it's Sunday. We're hanging out. We got to watch wrestling at a complete different time of day. Shout out our Australian or other parts of the world listeners because time zones are a thing, and usually we watch wrestling 8 p.m. on a Saturday or Sunday or Tuesday for Up Next. And these poor Australians have to watch wrestling at like 5 a.m. or 9 a.m. when some people have like jobs and like all sorts of strange things. Brits, it's like what, like 4 a.m. when like Dynamite's on and stuff.
It's
like that too.
Yeah, UK it kind of sucks because it's at like 1 a.m. 1 till like 4 or 5, depending how long the pay-per-view is. Whereas I think if I might be completely wrong here, like correct me or any Aussies in the chat, but I think usual kind of US pay-per-views are about like breakfast time.
Okay, so it's not like
Australia. So not too bad. I'd kind of like that, get up.
But
breakfast on a Sunday morning and
it would be Sunday, right? It would be Sunday morning.
Right.
Okay, so yeah, that's not bad then, because this wasn't too bad. I was able to basically kind of put it on after the fact. So I started it probably at like 6:30, 7 a.m. I was kind of at work at the shoot job and kind of then just like was able to skip through a lot of the commercials and stuff, which I'm seeing a lot of criticisms of. A lot of it was commercials and promos and not too much of like actual wrestling, but there was, and we'll definitely get into it. But I'm seeing the consensus was like, there was people who did wake up or stayed up to watch WWE Chamber. And as a wrestling fan who likes that there's fans all over the world and connects and we have communities, maybe this is a good sign for wrestling fans. If we're crazy and dedicated enough to stay up for an Elimination Chamber pay-per-view, then like, hey, who's to say we couldn't be up at other times when they're doing shows in like Berlin coming up, France, or, all these other places around the world. So yes,
I'm surprised it took this long. You know, like it's the network or like moving to kind of streaming rather than pay-per-view is 10 years old this month now,
Crazy.
Like it's been going for 10 years. They dipped their toes in the water with like the show in Japan. Around what was
Beast
that, like 2015, something like that. And they had NXT London as well. But apart from that, they really didn't do anything until last year. Outside of the Super Showdown or the Saudi shows, which at first kind of felt like just glorified house shows. But yeah, I'm surprised it took this long. They're not relying on pay-per-view buys anymore. It's just subscribers. It's streaming. It's on demand. You can watch it at your leisure. If you want to get up at ridiculous o'clock to watch it, you can watch it. If not, you can catch it later. I'm really surprised it's taken this long. You say it a lot. It's called World Wrestling Entertainment, not US Wrestling Entertainment. And it should be hitting these places. And, US fans should learn to watch at an inconvenient time when the rest of the planet are doing the same thing, I
remember the UK tournament that they did. Shout out Tyler Bate and Pete Dunne finally making it onto a pay-per-view. But all those years ago when they did that tournament, I remember watching it live and being like, wow, this is how these people watch this all the time in the middle of the fucking night, probably I was next to like, someone sleeping. And I'm like, oh man, like I'm trying to be quiet watching wrestling when like, me, I can get into it and everything. So it's like, I feel for the fans all across the world who maybe have to really, find time and struggle to watch at certain times. So all the power to you. I feel for you.
I would say 5 a.m. is probably the worst time because it's just too late, especially when, we had 4 matches over the course of 3.5 hours.
Crazy.
And I mean, although you could power nap sort of every 20 minutes pretty much for another 20 minutes, I'd say. But yeah, it's, at 1 a.m., 2 a.m., you can kind of stay up. You can push yourself through to, or at least I can, till maybe 4 or 5 staying up. But staying up 5 till like 9, it's too early to wake up early and it's too late to kind of stay up. But it's Australia's a big place and it suits them. So why not? It's, as I said, I had no issue. I woke up, I went for a walk, I got my coffee, I made some dinner and just sat down and watched it before work yesterday. So it was nice.
Yeah, you could it's tough if people who are, very, I don't want to get spoiled and this and that and life gets in the way. Like, yeah, it totally happens. But it's like this was Chamber as well. It wasn't like it was WrestleMania and you're like, oh man, this one was kind of paint by numbers of like what was going to happen at this show. And
yeah,
so all the power. I see Chris Price saying over in the UK, he was watching at 10 a.m. live. So that's not too bad.
Yeah, that sounds lovely.
Jake in the chat bringing up watching Wrestle Kingdom. It's the same thing. I mean, I like to sometimes stay up. For me, I mean, I know you work at a bar and sometimes work strange hours. For me, I work at strange hours as well. So sometimes I am up at crazy hours for work or am coming back from a shift at crazy hours. So sometimes it does kind of work for me in these strange hours. But overall, like, we live in a world where you just don't go on Twitter or Facebook until you get home and watch the show. And then you're safe, right? Like, if you really care about something, like, think back in the day when you would watch TV shows and you were like, I mean, tonight let's say like Buffy, like, oh my God, what's going to happen if I miss this? Like, you weren't able to go home and then just instantly watch it. Like, you can.
I mean, I had something called a VCR. Yeah. I don't know. I've always been able to record stuff. I've never watched stuff live, to be honest. Yeah.
Yeah, you could find ways. So
easy.
But it was fun to watch it at a different time for sure. Hey, shout out some people in the chat here. I see you, Chris Price, Jake, Surin. Appreciate you hanging out with us. We're going to talk about some WWE Chamber from Australia that happened yesterday. And if you're listening to us, again, hit that subscribe on your podcast app, but also check out our patreon.com/PoisonRana. For $5, you can become a friend and get access to all the podcasts that we do, including some great shows that we do. And we got to pat ourselves on the back for some awesome stuff. So about a week or so ago, we did Nation of Domination, a Poison profile, a look at this famous faction, The Rock, Farouk, and others. We were joined by B. Detroit from Wattup, which you can listen to for free on the free feed. He just dropped another one with Siino just a few days ago, where we ran through the whole Nation of Domination. Was pretty awesome. Was pretty proud of that. Check that out. And then we recorded a SummerSlam 2003 review, chatting about the second ever Elimination Chamber, featuring Triple H in those weird pants and Goldberg spearing people through the pod, which we'll talk about some spears through the pods a bit later. So check out that review as well. But we have one already recorded in the bank for this week. In fact, I might be nice and release it maybe tomorrow or something.
I think we're going to give a little tease. Shall we put out maybe like the first 30 minutes for free tomorrow, and then we can release the whole thing maybe a couple of days later for our paying patrons? But
maybe
I think this is one we want to kind of share the love a little bit.
Yeah, maybe I'll upload it for patrons, but then also give out a like, hey, this is what you're missing, because we were joined by Nate Milton, the great TN8, to talk about Sting. The Best Match Ever podcast returns with Nate as the three of us go through the historic career of the icon Sting. And this is a lengthy podcast. If you think the NWA pod is long, just wait till you hear this one.
It's still half the time of an NWA podcast. Yeah.
We go through like the best matches of Sting and career moments and everything. Like, we go through everything. So even RoboCop. So can't wait for everyone to listen to this. I feel like it's one of our favorite podcasts that we've done in such a long, long time. So I cannot wait for everyone to hear this.
I honestly have been really proud of the stuff we've done this month. I think our Nation of Domination profile, we've been getting a lot of love for so far. And really been enjoying kind of the concept we've been doing for that one. But this might be my favorite best match ever we've done.
It was good, man.
Yeah, I thought having Nate on the show, he was so great on this. And looking at the entire career of Sting across multiple promotions, multiple decades, multiple kind of versions of his gimmick. I love this show and can't wait for you all to listen to it.
Yes. So patreon.com/PoisonRana, become a friend. You get all these shows and you get everything that we've ever done in the Patreon, including all the different best matches ever. We've had Nate on for best match ever, Mike Awesome, Masato Tanaka. We've done different match types. We've done retro pay-per-view reviews, so many things. You sign up, it's $5. You get a whole month's access. And check us out, because that's like pennies per show. There's hundreds and hundreds of shows. You can see all the different reviews and stuff that we've done on there. So support your small time content creators. And hey, while you're at it, chop-tees.com/PoisonRana, because there you can find our merch. You can find t-shirts, hats, hoodies, everything that we put on here, including stuff from Wattup, Detox, and all sorts of stuff. So if you want to support the pod, that is how you can do it. And if you're like, I'm not going to WrestleMania, Davie and Brady, but I want to buy you guys a beer while you're down there. Well, buy yourself the Patreon, $5 a month, or buy yourself a hat or something like that. Free shipping. So check us out.
Absolutely. We've got our Philly shirt coming out soon. We have a couple of Philly designs. Those of you who are a member of the Facebook group and kind of the community Poisonrana chat, or as I like to call our little Poisonrana market research group, you might have got a glimpse of this design already, but I believe it's going to be going up on the store this week. So if you are going to Philly and want to wear this Philly-inspired Poisonrana shirt, you'll have plenty of time to get it in time for WrestleMania. Or if you're just staying at home watching the event, you should wear it anyway.
Exactly. Yes. So check out all the stuff. We always have some new designs dropping, but definitely excited about this Philly-inspired design, which ties into a review we will be doing in about a few weeks, actually. So to tie in with Philly, we got some great shows lined up for the next while for Patreon as well. While we're on the topic, because it's in Philly, we thought we'd pick a random old school. We might put it to a tadpole, as we call it here, where we'll pick some old school ECW to review. But then we were thinking, hey, WrestleMania has been to Philly before, so we might review, was it 15? I think it is. So we might review WrestleMania.
Yeah,
15.
Rock Austin won.
Yeah, so we might go back and look at that.
Big Show Mankind, winner is the ref, or something like that, I think. Yeah.
But then, like, little do people know, technically WrestleMania time is our anniversary, right, Davey? Like of upNXT kind of starting and everything.
Yeah, it will be 6 years, I believe, right?
6 years of podcasting about NXT together, but and more. But because this is a match and a show that we've talked about for a lot, that you were at, and we're finally going to look at NXT TakeOver Philly, Gargano v. Almas and Chill. Finally, the review coming all these years later. So lots of shows coming up in the Patreon. So that's happening about in the next month or so. So can't wait for that. So appreciate all the listeners over these years, wherever you may be across this world. How did AJ Styles figure out how to get to Australia when the world is flat? I didn't understand how did he get on a plane just to attack LA Knight? I mean,
I think even if the world was flat, you'd still be able to fly from A to B.
But what if it's like, how did he, this is not
how do you drive on a road?
He would have to take a, I don't know. How can you take a boat? You could take a boat, I guess. But yeah.
You can still fly. Planes
fly straight to
depending on a Earth being sphere. Like you can still fly flat.
Well, wait, do they just think it's like this, or is it like, is there like a thing like that? I don't know. I don't know what they think it is, but I think it's round. And I imagine that the flights were long. It looked like some of these wrestlers had quite a tough time taking, like they're used to taking flights, but I think like a 10-hour flight? Are they 15-hour flights? Something like that.
To Australia? Yeah, probably 15 plus, I think.
Yeah, when I went, it's like 15 to China and then like another 4 or something like that. That was pretty crazy. So should we jump into Australia?
I think so. Yeah, let's do it.
All right. Well, let's talk about some WWE Elimination Chamber from Saturday, February 24th, 2024 in Perth, Australia. So this was just one giant ad for, hey, travel to Australia, Western Australia.
Yeah. Have you heard of Australia before? WWE are going to tell you about it.
They told me a whole lot. Not actually, because again, I kind of skipped through a lot of commercials, but Australia looks like a very nice place. It looks beautiful. And they're at this giant stadium with 52,590 fans or so, they said, which is a lot of people. It looked great.
It looked great, especially the the shots outside the stadium where you could see the skyline of the city behind it. There was one beautiful shot when it was like the sun was setting. It just looked gorgeous. And these cricket stadiums are just beautiful. And I thought it looked great.
Yeah, it looked cool. I liked a lot of they did a press conference the day before with like a lot of good promotion. Again, seeing different parts of the world of fans that are so hungry for this, right? Like maybe a part of crowds being so boring and quiet all the time is because they're so used to it and they get it whenever WWE or wrestling comes to town like 3 times a year. Whereas these people in Australia were like just waiting for this. And I'm sure people from Australia and other countries nearby like came to this city to go to this event. And like, I'm sure they could be doing more than just this. Like they could be doing another one like soon back over.
I believe they've TKO have struck a deal with Australia.
Okay.
I believe where they are going to be doing multiple of these. I think maybe with it being TKO, probably with UFC as well.
Sure,
I'm not entirely sure, but yeah, I think this is first of many. And what the where was it? Was it in Houston or they've struck a deal somewhere else with the Toyota Center?
Okay.
Off the top of my head in the US, where they're going to bring like these weekenders of UFC and WWE to them. Let me look that up. But I think
Saturdays UFC
3 times over the next 5 years or something like that.
Wow.
So yeah, they're definitely getting these deals done now.
But it's great. It's great. Like seeing all these fans being really rabid for this stuff, even if it's just Elimination Chamber. It's like it's cool to see. I loved all the video stuff WWE did, kind of documenting the wrestlers showing up, whether it's getting off the plane, hanging out with koalas, going to the beach and everything like that. A great video I saw. It sadly wasn't part of this package. Was a fan was at a beach a day before the event and found a bunch of wrestlers on the beach. I think it was like Finn hanging out with Bate and Butch. And someone got a video being like, "Hey, Finn, hey, nice to see you. Big fan. Are you excited for Chamber?" And Finn's like, "Oh, yeah. Okay. Thanks for watching and everything." And the guy goes, "Hey, is The Rock going to show up at the Chamber?" And Finn Balor goes, "Nah, that guy's a bitch. He doesn't show up to these things," kind of thing. And people got this on camera and people are kind of laughing that Finn's just running down The Rock there. And then the guy's like, "What about this guy?" He's like, "No, also not him." But, the ones they showed in the opening for this video were great. Like you see, Kevin Owens later on showing up with like the koala for the match.
Yes.
It's just
I had to use it for the show.
Yeah, it's iconic.
It's just like,
did you see Kairi Sane and Asuka holding koalas? They're freaking losing their minds. I'm surprised. I figured you would have used that. I posted it on our Insta because it's just so
nice.
Great. Her eyes are just like she's in awe of these koalas. So that was pretty cool. And then before we go into the actual like show itself, one of the craziest stories that I think will go somewhat under the radar a little bit is Michael Cole explaining at this press conference that the Elimination Chamber itself, Davey, we were talking about this just a few weeks ago about like kind of weird that they pick Australia to do the thing where you got to import this giant structure, right? Okay. Did you hear about this story? Michael Cole said that there was this like disruption of plans for the actual Elimination Chamber structure. So they had this thing being like shipped in to Australia and like weeks and weeks and weeks ago, right? However, Michael Cole says, and I have the quote here from CagesideSeats.com from Michael Cole, who said, "This is a structure which took over a month to get here. Originally, it was supposed to ship through the Suez Canal, but pirates made it sure that didn't happen. So it was sent to Miami. Then it was shipped by truck to LA, put on a ship to Sydney, sent on a train over to Perth. And now the chamber is being constructed as we speak."
Jeez.
Pirates almost stopped the Elimination Chamber.
Guys.
And I mean, I'm a big fan of pirates. So like, you got to give them credit like that. They were like, "Yo, we're going to stop this cargo, this precious cargo." You think these pirates, what if they like successfully stole this thing and then they open it up and it's just a bunch of fucking chains and padding?
Yeah.
Pirates.
Next time, guys, just give them backlash for fuck's sake. Yeah.
Like you did not need to ship that
as much as we want this thing to be worldwide, it's like, come on. Like that's just it's wasteful. Come on.
Pretty funny though.
Thankfully, I just want to correct myself and say it's the Honda Center in Anaheim with this $4 billion deal to bring UFC WWE weekenders. So you'll have a Raw, like a SmackDown on a Friday, perhaps, and then UFC on a Saturday,
UFC.
that kind of thing.
Right. Do they have Pirates?
I just
in
got my
Anaheim?
cars confused. Yeah.
Right. Anaheim, what? Toyota Center?
Honda Center.
Right. Nice. Okay. Yeah, Frank in the chat says, where was Paul Burchill? Best pirate gimmick in wrestling goes to Paul Burchill. The Brit, right? The British pirate.
Is he? I don't know. Yeah,
I'm pretty sure he was. I was a big fan of him. His entrance was he would swing in on a rope. I mean, it doesn't get any better than that as well. So let's talk about the Chamber. There was some good and some bad. Not so much bad. I thought it was an okay show. The pre-show, Kabuki Warriors defeated Candice and Indy. At least Indy got to wrestle in this crazy huge stadium in Australia, right? Being from Australia and wrestling a lot in the Indies over there, indie wrestling over there. So I thought that was pretty cool. But then the actual show kicked off with the women's Elimination Chamber match with Becky Lynch defeating Bianca Belair, Liv Morgan, Naomi, Raquel Rodriguez, and Tiffany Stratton. I thought this match was pretty good. In fact, I thought it was one of the best women's matches best women's Elimination Chamber match maybe like ever. And I'm so happy to see Tiffany Stratton just completely excel into the main roster. Like if she didn't have people's attention before this match, like easily everyone's talking about her after this.
I always love when you see like a wrestler turn a crowd. Remembering like, Gargano versus Adam Cole in New York when everyone was booing Johnny apart from us to start with, and halfway through the match everyone's like, what am I doing? We got to cheer Johnny. You kind of got that with Tiff here, who was like getting a lot of grief from the fan, like playfully, but from the fans, like Tiffy sucks, all those kind of chants while she was in the Chamber. And once she got in there, she just impressed so much. I mean, we've been singing her praises since NXT. We've been saying that this girl seems to have everything, how quick she's picked it all up. Got some really cool looking moves. Obviously, the character she's got down, like the sort of daddy's little rich girl, sport brat, center of the universe thing. She's just got so well, very comfortable with her promos. And yeah, I thought she absolutely shone in this match, where completely won over this crowd, being the only heel in this match as well. But yeah, I see huge things for Tiffany Stratton, and the crowd didn't want to see her beat. Chance of bullshit. They were mad that Naomi went first, but they seemed even more mad when Tiffany got eliminated. But
I mean,
as you said, I thought this was a really fun women's Elimination Chamber, and even though it was predictable, I still had a lot of fun with it.
Yeah, I'd say this show was pretty predictable. Like only a few matches, 2 of them being chambers. They tend to go, 30 minutes to 40 minutes or so. But like this one, it had Becky. You just knew Becky was going to win the thing, but Tiffany was just shining. I mean, jumping off the top of the pod with the swanton onto everyone was crazy. She got so over with the crowd with the Tiffy time stuff that later in the men's chamber, you could audibly hear a loud Tiffy time chants coming from people again. So like, yeah, she was definitely the star, I'd say, of the show. And it's so great to see her like excel now with the main roster, as we kind of thought she would in the last year, specifically of NXT. She's just been like on fire. And yeah, I think by this time next year, she'll probably be champion at some point.
I think so. Yeah. I can't see it taking too long to just strap the rocket to her. I think as well, it worked. The character works as a babyface as well. I always find these characters in TV shows quite interesting. Kind of, you mentioned Buffy at the top, but Cordelia, she is exactly who this character is, like a spoilt brat. But then as you get to know her, you realize that she, is actually kind of lonely because she's just been princessed all her life. And then, finally starts opening up. And I think you could absolutely see that character-wise with Tiffany if you want to make her a babyface one day. But yeah, like potential Rumble winner next year or something. Like I see huge things. But I thought all 6 women were great. I think I thought Raquel was just, as the sort of the the base really for a lot of these spots was good. I still just I hate the character. I don't think she should be a baby face. She needs to stop smiling. Like as soon as her pod opened, she's like coming out smiling, punching people. It's like, what is it? She should just be a monster in this division, in my opinion. But I thought she looked good. I've been really impressed with Liv Morgan since coming back. I thought she cut a really good promo on Raw where we've been saying this is predictable. It's obviously going to be Becky Lynch, but she cut a promo that, put a nugget of doubt in my mind, being like, oh, okay. And I thought she looked good. And she's someone who we've been covering since NXT days who didn't really take to it that quickly. It's taken real, years actually for her to kind of put things together. And I'm starting to see it. I'm starting to see her put it all together.
Yeah, absolutely. I've been somewhat critical of Liv, but I definitely think she's finding her groove a lot and finding maybe a bit more of what her character is. But I thought all of them really shined. It's great to see Naomi, and Naomi definitely picked up some things on her time away and wrestling wise and stuff. She was always pretty good, but I think maybe she has the potential to even go to that next level. But a possible Mania match I think we'll be seeing is Bianca versus Tiffany. I think Tiffany gets her WrestleMania match very quickly coming up, and Bianca's the opponent. If it's not Jade versus Bianca, which Jade hasn't even wrestled yet, so I'd kind of much rather see Tiffany versus Bianca at this point.
I mean, that is something you could do. You could always do the a women's battle royal one night just to give to Jade to something.
Right. Okay.
While Jade is still maybe figuring out stuff in the PC and they're getting the right first singles feud, that's something that you can, give her a moment, kind of, okay, the Andre the Giant, the women's battle royal doesn't mean a whole lot, but if you just want to focus someone, I'd do that. And yeah, Tiffany and Bianca have had a couple of moments backstage, so I would like that. I'm not entirely sure if they're on the same brand off the top of my head. I can't think, but I was impressed with this one, and I quite liked the finish with just the sort of the pins back to back from Becky. To kind of but as Chris Jones says in the chat, predictable isn't bad if it makes sense, and I would say that in a way, WWE's good booking recently has been almost a detriment to this pay-per-view because we can see where everything's going. Everything's kind of in place for Mania.
Yeah, it's kind of a pointless pay-per-view.
Whereas some years it's, you can see that their scripts are being thrown out every day and they don't know what direction they're going and they don't know where Mania is, where maybe Elimination Chamber is a bit more compelling because you still don't really have a clue what the Mania card is. I think we can probably put, 5 to 10 potential matches that seem pretty certain, and I'd say this across the board. I thought the quality of the wrestling over this whole show was pretty strong, but you could also maybe skip the whole show because you know where it's going.
Yeah, it totally gives that vibe. It was like, hey, well, at least Australia is going to pay for us to do it. So
yeah,
that's what happened. But then they do show the graphic. It is official. Becky versus Rhea at WrestleMania, which I think is the biggest women's match in at least recent memory. And I know we do an NXT review show every time, and I had to look up. I'm like, I swear I've seen them wrestle before. The NXT November 20th, 2019 edition, where they had a one-on-one encounter. So
wow, okay.
Which this is still a huge fresh thing because they're both at the evolutions of their character right now. Specifically, Becky, she's kind of been, I don't think, pushed as the main star purposely because they're letting other people breathe. So I think this will be a great match, and I'm genuinely interested in seeing Becky Rhea at WrestleMania. Even as I don't think if The Rock's closing one of the shows wrestling, then unfortunately I don't think it's going to these two.
Yeah, I can't see the women closing either show this year, unfortunately, just because the matches they have with the men are so huge and so sort of box office. But yeah, I think one of the downsides with Rhea's run has been it's been clear they're saving the big opponents for big pay-per-views, and therefore most of this whole year, I think they've done a great job of featuring her as a star with the Judgment Day and stuff, but I wouldn't say there's much of note of this title run. But I think, Becky, I think since coming back from her pregnancy, I think has been better in ring. And I think she's been putting on incredible matches. We've seen Rhea is very capable of it. Her match with Charlotte last year, it made our top 10 matches of the year, was excellent. And I think it'll be better.
I think it'll be better than that.
I think it could be. And I think they've done a great job where we'll get into AEW and news about their women's division a bit later. But I think it's something WWE have done a good job at, is keeping stars busy when they're not in the title hunt. And, having Becky in NXT for that short period of time, having her, reignite that feud with Nia. Say what you will about Nia, it was kind of a bit of a loose end from that broken nose or orbital bone or whatever it was a few years ago. They've managed to keep her busy, where you haven't really been in this last year or so been going, well, where's Becky should be challenging for the title. She's been a focus across at least one of their TV shows for the whole year, and now it's her time again going into Mania.
Yeah, genuinely think this is one of the biggest women's matches that I can think. I've been loving all the last few big women's title matches at WrestleMania. They've been killing it with the women. Yeah. So this is going to be even better. I'm genuinely excited for it. We knew this was going to be the match, but now it's like set in stone, the graphic and everything. So the Chamber was fun too. So I definitely was like higher on it than I thought I would be. So
I will say with the Chamber, like, I just wish they replaced these stupid plexiglass panels. It's
right. They've made it like they light it up. They do all sorts of crazy stuff.
I don't mind the lights or anything like that. I think that looks cool. It just looks so flimsy. And they're telling me, oh, it's bulletproof glass. It ain't. It's plexiglass that we used to divide booths during COVID so we didn't breathe over each other. You see them banging on it, and I'm worried it's going to pop out because it's rattling. I'd say use proper glass and then gimmick one that smashes.
Yeah, one of them should be one of them should be the
sugar glass or something like that. Yeah. But it just, whenever I look at it, it's like you're not selling it on me that this hurts.
I agree. I agree. This I hate the Chamber matches, to be honest. Now they're so like the same every time. They're the same thing for the last 10 years. There's no chains. And look, I'm not saying the chains got rid of it because it wasn't worth taking that bump, because it doesn't even look that good when it's just body slamming someone on chains. So now it's just padding, which doesn't make it any different than I think it's one of the stupidest gimmicks now. Comparing it to the older, the first one, especially, it's not the same match. These are not, this is just, you should just do look how much trouble it was for them to bring over the structure, fucking pirates and shit. For what? You can just have people make entrances, do an.
I mean, that's what NXT do, don't they?
Yeah,
they've had their kind of sort of gauntlet style matches that are essentially Elimination Chamber without a chamber. I think as well, because you can't get under the ring, you don't have the opportunity to do weapons as well. So there's only so much creativity you can do in there, which is mainly, jump off a pod, put someone through a pod, suplex someone on the harder floor, and that's kind of it. And sometimes, when someone's eliminated and the door's open, you have an AJ Styles run in.
Yeah, the whole actual pod is the thing I have the issue with, because it just doesn't it looks cool, I guess, but imagine spending fucking 300 Australian dollars to go and barely see the fucking matches, right? You wouldn't see shit from the 3000 sections or whatever, because there's a giant structure with fucking little holes in it.
I mean, realistically, that's the case if you're sat in the nosebleeds in these stadiums, regardless. You're watching the screen, a lot of it. Even when you're close, you find your eyes gravitating to the screen. But it's being there. It's I went to the Chamber last year, and obviously it was an arena, not a stadium, but you can somewhat see. But I think the most of it, you're paying for the experience of being there and having a good time.
Well, what else was on the show? There was the tag team title match. We got to see our boys. What are they calling themselves? The Knights of the
Banana
New Republic.
Republic. Yeah.
Banana Republic, right? Sorry. The new. I went Star Wars. You went store. The Knights of the New Banana Republic. Pete Dunne and Tyler Bate. I love it. Pete Dunne was like, "Wow, I got my fucking name back. Look at me. I'm Pete Dunne. Sick. What are you gonna do, Pete Dunne? Don't call me Pete Dunne. Call us the New Quarter Catch Crew, whatever the fuck.
Yeah.
It's like, really? You just got your name back, man. And now we're going to have to call you something stupid again? Okay. The New Catch Republic taking on the Judgment Day. This was pretty fun, though. We've been fans of Tyler Bate and Pete Dunne, and finally seeing them kind of succeed on the main roster. I think it was something similar where the crowd weren't too like hot at their entrances. They were like, some of us know who these guys are. They're not quite like, superstars yet. But by the end of the match, I thought the crowd again were pretty supportive of these two because they were doing a lot of like pretty fun spots, and it was a pretty fun match. But Judgment Day retain, obviously. I think we saw that coming. What'd you think?
Yeah, same sentiment as the rest of the show. Like, yeah, no real doubt that Judgment Day were winning this thing, but obviously you've got 4 incredibly talented wrestlers in there. I'm enjoying the team of Pete and Tyler. It's I wonder what the feuds are going to be like outside a championship kind of chase. I'd say they're both still kind of weak when it comes to promos and character and that kind of thing. And in a way, yeah, the name Butch was stupid, but Pete Dunne does kind of work as that silent, moody straight man. And I don't think Tyler is entertaining enough as the kind of comic relief of the
Zen
team.
What is he gonna is he gonna do the Zen character on TV, right? Like
it's not Riddle and Dunne worked so well because Riddle is so ridiculous and Dunne is so moody. So I don't know how I'm gonna feel about them kind of as weekly characters. But I do enjoy their wrestling. I don't enjoy that double Tyler driver. I hate that move. The Tyler driver is a terrible move anyway.
Look, wait, hold on. We just did our Nation review and we watched Ahmed Johnson hit that move a few times recently, like from all those years ago. And it's like that looked great. Certain guys hit the move and it looks sick, but when they both try to do it, I don't think it necessarily. They did. I want to bring up Chris Jones in the chat says. Everyone's laughing at the Birmingham hammer, but we've seen it before. Trent was using that for he still uses that move.
Yep.
In fact, so that was kind of a nod for them to tribute to their boy. But I like this match. What do you think the Mania tag title scene is? Like Judgment Day versus someone?
It's got to be Awesome Truth, I would think. I can't unless you. Yeah, I don't see
Dino you're right.
being hot enough for that. I think Awesome Truth makes a whole lot of sense.
It's classic WWE. So you're gonna see Finn and Priest lose the tag titles to Awesome Truth, right? And then later that night, Priest will cash in on Seth.
Yeah, I'm wondering that. Yeah, I do think I think something's happening with that Drew and Seth match. Whether Sami Zayn somehow earns his way into it to make it a triple threat.
Yeah.
Or, I almost wouldn't mind because I feel they might be, turning Priest babyface and leaving Judgment Day. I wouldn't mind if they lost it on night 1 and he calls his shot for night 2 and is like, not the Seth Rollins surprise cash in, but just like you know what? I've lost my title. Fuck it. I'm going for it tomorrow or something like that.
Right. Okay. Yeah. And you can make it a 4-way if you add Sammy somehow in that mix or something. But yeah, I could see that. I mean, it would be funny for Seth to get the cash in on him the way he cashed in at WrestleMania. Yeah. So there is that. But yeah, either way, I think Seth is going to be losing that title come WrestleMania to someone possibly. But so then what else? We had the segment with Cody Rhodes,
the Grayson Waller effect.
Yeah, the Grayson Waller effect with Cody Rhodes, and this was so funny. Again, this show, sorry to say, it was a very predictable show, but like this you had Austin Theory for whatever reason, and because him and Waller are boys, the real a-hole group of wrestling. Logan Paul, Austin Theory, and Grayson Waller are just great. But Logan's getting ready for the Chamber at this point, and the two of them are out there, and like they just look like absolute geeks when both Seth and Cody have like 5-minute long entrances, because the thing is huge. The ramp is huge, right? Their music is like looping constantly, and there's insane pyro. Austin Theory and Grayson Waller, like all the power to them. They've definitely been pretty funny. And, you know, Waller was having the greatest day of his life, but like, oh my God, they just sat there looking like complete losers waiting for that. Like, just like, okay, all right. And then you saw like Theory was trying to do like some comedy stuff, like looking at his, counting his abs and like all this stuff. But like, oh my God, they just, especially Theory, he was just standing there for so long. But this segment was just Cody being like, and Rock, I'm probably going to fight you too, maybe.
Yeah, I was surprised we didn't actually get an official challenge. Yeah. It was Cody challenging Rock to a singles match and Seth just still basically saying, I got your back. It wasn't Seth being like, no, I want to get my hands on them too. Let's make it a tag. It was, yeah, you can face The Rock, but you know, he'll have friends. So I'm your friend.
Yeah.
Found it weird. We didn't get any kind of like confirmation or something. I thought Waller held his own. I do enjoy him on the mic, and seeing him, you know, in his hometown.
Yeah, it was amazing.
Home country, doing the shoey. I think he's pretty quick. Theory, obviously, a lot weaker on the mic. I think he tried to make a Outback Steakhouse joke, because I believe that's not a thing in Australia.
No, it's not.
It's an Australian themed thing in the US. But the thing is, I don't even know if these Australians know that it's a thing in the US. So they're just like, sorry.
Yeah. I mean, if he really wanted to offend Aussies, he could have been like, yo, Hungry Jacks, it's shit. It's terrible. Yeah. Or he could have shit on bitter beer, Victoria Bitter.
Yeah.
he could have said a few other things, but yeah, it got like, we all like probably, I think that line works in the States, but it was like it just got quiet.
Like Australians who have been to the US or know enough about the US, yeah, maybe they'll get the reference, but I don't know if majority of this 55,000 do.
I'll give him the credit. He was like, hey, I tried Vegemite and it sucks. But like, then you have his partner who is Australian, who's like, who just put a video out like yesterday, 2 days ago, being like eating the proper way to eat with the butter and everything. And I was like, oh, that's great. He's back in Australia doing all the Aussie things, him eating meat pies and stuff. And then this guy's like, his friend right next to him is like, yo, Vegemite is shit. It's like, it was funny, but I'm like, oh.
But Austin Theory looks like he only orders chicken tenders. You know, like he's that.
I don't know. He was counting his abs. Maybe he's
no. I mean, he's jacked, but I can't see him eating very creative.
He's a boring guy,
food, to be honest.
Yeah, he's pretty boring. The only thing that he gets over is still doing the Rock's catchphrases.
Yeah.
So that's what he does. Someone in the chat, Chris, also says this segment could have been an email. That's definitely how I felt about this. It was like, okay, a whole lot of nothing to get to, a whole lot of...
It was giving you your stars without giving you your stars, really.
Again, I'd be a little cheesed at WWE if I was going to the show, because like you don't really get to see some of the stars you thought at one point you were going to get, aka CM Punk and Cody and Seth, all not wrestling on this show. But still. And another...
Brock versus Dom was meant to be a thing, and obviously the news and stuff, Brock is out. It is like, as a viewer who just subscribes anyway and watches this essentially for free, it doesn't bother me. Like, okay, 4 matches, cool. All right, I'll go have a shower in between this match. Okay, I'll make myself some lunch between these matches. But yeah, being in a stadium, and I imagine like Australia is a big place. I imagine people traveled from all over Australia who are wrestling fans to go to this,
but it's expensive.
To get 4 matches, it's not great.
Like for a lot of people who are Melbourne or Sydney and stuff, like that's still an expensive flight to go over there. It's not like necessarily that cheap. It's cheap to go from Syd to Melbourne, but like to go to Perth, that's the other side of the country, right? So it is still pretty far. I'm sure all the Melbourne people from that last show who are like, you basically gave us a house show, but like, where's the other stuff? So
I mean, I kind of say that they gave them more with Super Showdown.
You got Triple H and Taker.
You got Triple H and Taker. You got the Buddy Murphy cruiserweight match. Like, you've got more than 4 matches on that show.
Yeah. Yeah, true. We go to the men's elimination chamber, which also had some pretty fun stuff in it as well. We had Drew McIntyre defeating Bobby Lashley, Kevin Owens, LA Knight, Logan Paul, and Randy Orton. There's a few things in this that were pretty noteworthy, which first of being Logan Paul being put in a chamber, and he pulls out a Sharpie and he starts doodling on his chamber pod, which I thought was absolutely hilarious. He starts drawing devil horns and puts his head in it. And then he puts like Kevin Owens sucks and draws like a fat guy stick drawing. And then he draws that 90s kid S. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh, yeah.
The line.
Yeah.
I was like, all right, man, maybe you aren't that bad. Maybe I kind of like you, because I was
the doodle on every school desk back in
yeah,
the day,
you
right?
you looked at any desk in the 90s to 2000s of just random S's. I don't know what it was that people I used to do that all the time and I could never understand why, but it's such a thing. So yeah, he's put in the pod, the bit with him and Kevin Owens where he keeps like trying to get at him. I've seen the memes of like a rabid little dog, which is pretty funny. But then Kevin Owens, who comes in and hits a choke slam. And I'm like, interesting. I never really see Kevin Owens do a choke slam. And then Michael Cole references on commentary that the day before in Australia, Kevin Owens met a Make-A-Wish kid. And his wish was like, hey, I hope you do a choke slam in your match. And Kevin Owens was like, don't worry, I got you. I'll do a choke slam. So like,
yeah, it's a good job this kid didn't go, hey, do a double moon.
Are you kidding me?
Choke slam, sure. I'll do a choke slam for you, kid.
If that how it's work, it'd be like, hey, Kevin, can you win the match tomorrow? Make sure you win the match, Kevin. But yeah, Kevin hits a choke slam.
I love that though. I thought that was great.
I thought that was pretty great and very nice of like them to reference it and everything. So again, Kevin Owens walking in with the koala, zoo enthusiast, Kevin Owens. I think he's slowly bringing that gimmick back from the indies where he just would like talk about animals and all his shirts were animals and stuff. And I mean, we're called Poisonrana and our logo's a frog, and we love animals here too. So I think he just was hitting all the marks for my heartstrings watching from the koala to the choke slam. Kevin Owens was on top. What do you think his Mania match is? Sorry to kind of cut between the match, but it made me wonder, like, hey, where are you going to be doing this Mania time?
I don't know. I'm like Randy, Randy and Kevin Owens really don't have.
No, it's Randy Logan
right now,
isn't it?
Sorry?
Randy, someone else, right? Randy and Logan Paul. No, Logan Paul and LA Knight.
Okay.
Oh wait, LA Knight and AJ Styles. It's Randy and Logan Paul.
LA Knight, AJ Styles. So yeah, I guess Randy and Logan Paul. I guess, has Randy ever held the US title?
I guess
maybe not.
Exactly.
So maybe that's why you can do that one.
Andrew McDonald in the chat is saying, my dying wish would be to see one more package pile driver from Kevin Owens. Yes, I thought that could be it. Like, hey, you never done it yet.
I mean, I'd wish for an end to poverty, but yeah, sure, Andrew.
Well, Kevin Owens can't just single-handedly. There's a great bit of Pete Davidson's last Netflix stand-up special where he goes off. He explains Make-A-Wish Foundation stuff, and he has a great story where this one kid is just like, I just want to hang out with Pete Davidson. So he's like, yeah, all right. And like, he did it. And he was like, this is amazing. And then the kid was like, yeah, I'm going to like die soon. So Pete just had like spent the whole day with him, tells him, he's like, I told that kid all my secrets. And then like a week later, I called to see how he was doing. And the doctors told me like, yeah, actually he's getting out today. He's healing. And he was like, oh my God, I told this kid everything. And then like, unfortunately the kid did pass away. And he was like, thank God, because like I kind of told that kid some things that I shouldn't have told him, and I was worried and like got my lawyers ready, and then like it's pretty funny. So, but I've told you before about the Make-A-Wish commercial with John Cena and the Coldplay song. So, fuck yeah, Make-A-Wish. Good job, Kevin Owens.
Oh yeah.
I hope he gets a big Mania spot.
He deserves one. Like he's one of the top guys in the company. Like
easily.
Part of me is almost like even though we've seen it a million times. If him and Sammy don't have anything to do, just be like, hey, do you want to fight each other? We're both good guys, but let's just have a match anyway.
Please. Maybe Sammy's heel now. Like Sammy goes crazy because he can't win the title. And Kevin.
I'm worried they're going that way. And we've had Sammy as a heel for too long on the main roster. I would still like, although the baby facings maybe losing its juice a little bit. I don't know. Yeah, Chris Jones says maybe a multi-man ladder match at Mania for the US title. I could see that, but I do kind of feel that's maybe wasted on like Owens, Sammy, and Randy doing that kind of match. But yeah, still, there's definitely the top of the card. We kind of see direction, but there's definitely still some blanks. But as for the men's chamber, again, I thought was pretty strong. I was wondering if they were going to do something a little screwy to maybe put the Seth match in doubt, what it could possibly be. But they just went with the Drew win, which I guess storyline wise does make sense. I actually thought, both Drew and KO really had their working boots on in this match. I thought they were taking pretty much like all of it. But yeah, I enjoyed it. And I think the Drew's promos have just been excellent so far. If it is just a singles match, we have seen it a few times this year. So I'd like to know what they're doing to make this a bit different. I do think this is maybe the right character though, with Sammy potentially in a bigger match on night one Seth in a bigger match night one. That can drive Drew a bit more, being like, hey, this is, even when I'm getting my Mania title match, the focus is on you on a tag match on night one or something. So I think there's definitely fuel for him, but I want to see something added, whether it's a stipulation or inserting a Sami Zayn or something like that.
Yeah, possibly. Or maybe it's Sammy versus Gunther or Kevin versus Gunther, right? Like there's a few.
Sammy v Gunther, I could totally see.
Yeah, that'd be pretty awesome. This match was pretty good too. There was some good stuff, but again, kind of like how all these chambers have kind of felt in the past few years. I don't necessarily think it's one of the more stronger match types, but all the things were hit in order to set up for matches. Like the stuff with LA Knight and Logan Paul. Great. Now we know, Logan Paul and AJ Styles. Sorry, my mistake. The guy who flew there, right? He flew there just to attack LA Knight, which is definitely player hating.
And that's good. I think LA Knight definitely deserves a Mania match after the last year he's had, his popularity and everything. And AJ Summon as well. He's one of those people. Yeah, we should probably give AJ a singles match at Mania too.
And it's weird that he's AJ heel, but at the same time, like LA Knight will absolutely cook AJ Styles on the mic. Like AJ is a heel. I used to watch TNA, and when AJ first turned heel in TNA, it was one of the most like ooh, he's a interesting kind of heel. But that's years of.
I enjoyed his heel run in WWE against Siino. I thought that whole thing
beat up
really
John Cena.
Worked. Yeah, so in AJ needed a freshen up, I think. So kind of makes sense for the change.
And then Logan Paul and Randy, I think, is the direction as well.
That makes sense. I like the, Randy in the school of Matt Jackson just selling the back now. Everything he does, it's the back sell. And I think that's a nice little wrinkle to his game.
I feel bad though. I don't know if it was just Randy selling the back. It looked like half the people on the floor were given like the shittiest little lawn chairs to sit on. Did you see this? I don't know. It's not usually like that at these events. Usually you get to keep the chair you're like sitting on, right? Like but if you're like rows and rows back, you don't get you just sit on like a black chair that you don't get to keep. But instead they made people sit on these like white plastic. You think of like your friend's backyard when you go to like those white plastic chairs.
Yeah.
Imagine sitting at a 4-hour plus show on these things. Are you kidding me? Again, probably paying $1,000 to sit there on a plastic fucking chair. I heard
doing a 90-minute podcast in a nice gaming chair.
Exactly. Can you imagine? I saw those pictures and I was like, man, it can't be like that everywhere else. Like that's crazy. They just were not prepared, maybe, or it was maybe pirates stole all those chairs and they didn't have the right ones. But but I like the men's chamber as well. It definitely set up a lot of other things. Did you like the men's or the women's chamber more?
I think maybe the women's.
Yeah, I'm kind of on the fence of that. Maybe I was more into that one as well. But
I feel the problem is now what they said. This is 37th chamber, something like that.
Oh my God.
The matches are good. Like I'd probably say, 3.75, 4-star range.
Yeah.
You'll never think about it again. Though.
No. Yeah.
Like, and you're not really going to think about any chamber post 2008, 2009.
Yeah, exactly.
In my opinion, it's just there's not much new you can do about it. And I think that about a lot of gimmick matches. I think that about, most TLC and ladder matches these days and all that stuff. It makes it difficult to come up with something new with these things. But Chris Price says the chamber match itself needs to be later in the year. I mean, it is a nice kind of gimmick to use to set up when you do have the two titles, to set up the other title post.
Yeah, it's like, hey, we're going to take all the best guys or women, and then the winner of that gets a shot. It's pretty fair, yeah.
But I think if you do it as like a title match in that, lame duck period around September to December, you could do a surprise title change in a chamber, for a couple of months, that sort of thing. But,
Then we had the main event of this stadium show, Nia Jax.
Yeah.
Wild. 2 Australian born. So apparently Nia Jax is actually born in Australia.
All right.
So pretty cool, actually. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what? Look, not the biggest Nia Jax fan. You got me. Maybe one of my least favorite wrestlers to watch. I thought this match was all right. I think everything kind of played into, yes, the predictable game of not a chance would Nia Jax dethrone Rhea Ripley, but Rhea Ripley getting that huge star treatment here, like coming out like an actual superhero to these people. 50,000 plus people screaming and losing their minds for Rhea, who has had an incredible year of being a huge star. Like, she's just been like everywhere on all the shows. And she really, like you said, a lot of the B pay-per-views, her matches are like the same thing. Like, she's not losing it to this. They're waiting for these bigger matches. And I mean, again, say what you will about Nia Jax. I thought she picked the spots perfectly. She looked like the classic big heel, and then finally getting Rhea to hit the riptide, which we all knew what was coming anyway. So, and send the crowd home happy and give her this moment from, wrestling in Australia to 10 people to 50 plus thousand. So I even got into this obviously with like more story behind it with, Rhea and her Australia homecoming, and her family in the front row and everything. So I still really like this. Like, maybe one of my favorite Nia Jax matches I've ever seen, possibly. So I'll give her that.
Yeah, I kind of echo your sentiments. I think as much as we don't particularly enjoy Nia in ring, I do think this made sense because as we mentioned, you don't want to necessarily burn Rhea versus Bianca for the first time on main roster on a B level setup to Mania pay-per-view. You're not going to do Becky Lynch here. That's going to be Mania. And everyone else are going to be quite a bit below, where to heat them up, like heating up a Piper Niven or a Raquel Rodriguez, that level, it's just not going to work. And it's going to feel such a raw level match, I think. And whereas here you put someone like Nia, who is universally hated, everyone's going to boo her as a heel. You've got the they've booked her pretty dominantly coming in, going over Becky and just the whole squash thing, squashing the whole roster. I think Nia is good on the mic as just a heel that you just completely dislike. I think she sounds confident and she works in that way. And then you're building up to Nia just hitting a big move on this big woman, which is always impressive to see. So I think it made a whole lot of sense. Like, on paper at first, you go, what, Nia Jax main eventing this stadium show in Australia? What the fuck? But when you look at the rest of the options, I don't really know who else you'd have gone with for Rhea in this spot. And I thought Nia did a good job in, accentuating her strengths and hiding the weaknesses in this match. And I thought they did put on together something pretty good here, and probably actually one of Rhea's more memorable title defenses during this reign. Oh, you're on mute.
Yeah, it was great. Like, everything you kind of said and everything I've said, but now we can go forward with Becky won the chamber. The match graphic pops up. It's official. Becky Rhea. So yeah, now we can go forward with that big matchup. We'll have some great stories in the next few weeks. I'm sure some promo battles between the two, which I think could be good because again, they're both at like the great stages in their career. Becky's done it all already. She's been to that mountaintop, but not faced someone like this. And the real test for Becky will be deep down. Can I have a better match with Rhea than Charlotte? Because that's what she wants to do. She wants to beat Charlotte in any way possible. And I think she could do that. So definitely looking forward to that. So yeah, Rhea just looking like a superhero in this Australian crowd and everything. So it was cool. And I hope they go back because I think it was Sean Ross Sapp reporting that it looked like it was supposed to be Bronson Reed facing Seth in a match, but because of Seth's injury and Bronson, his wife at the time was pregnant, who has now had their baby, and he was back at home. So I'm sure it hurts for him not to be a part of that show. But down the line, that is something you could go to, Bronson versus your champion down the line. But Bronson Seth would have been pretty good.
Bronson is someone who is definitely just kind of waiting. I'm not talking about necessarily a SummerSlam or a Mania or something, but he's definitely someone I think you could push as a challenger for your World Heavyweight Championship at a Backlash, a Payback, that kind of level event.
But yeah, so going forward, like we have 5 weeks till Mania or something like that, maybe less.
I think so. Point? Yeah, 5-6 weeks.
So we're going ahead towards that, and we kind of know a lot of our matches. Like we've got Cody versus Roman, we've got Io Bailey, Seth Drew, Rhea versus Becky. So there's some other ones that we can fill in, like AJ, LA Knight, Randy, Logan Paul, and possibly some tag team title stuff in there, maybe a ladder. So I don't know. There'll be a lot. So either way, it's looking pretty stacked.
Yeah, I'm pretty happy. There's been some Manias I've gone to where as the card's coming together, you're like, okay, yeah, I'm sure I'll have fun. I'm looking forward to that one match, but overall, nah. But I'm pretty excited for everything they've announced so far, to be honest, and everything that looks to be happening.
Yeah, absolutely. So good time to be a fan because it's going to be just great going into Mania. I can tell with some of these feuds and stories that they've got. They've done a great job in recent memory of hyping up other characters. Back in the day, if The Rock came in, it would just be about him cutting the same old cookie cutter shit. And instead, they've even flipped the script on that, right? And still haven't announced that match, which I'm sure they will soon. So The Rock has to show up again on TV and make that match official, because then people will be buzzing about how it's The Rock announced to wrestle, which I imagine is the case. So pretty good. What about some AEW stuff? Should we talk about some of that?
I'd love to maybe start with talking about Sting's promo on Dynamite, which gave me shivers, to be honest. We, pulling back the curtain a bit, we recorded Best Match Ever Sting on Wednesday. I spent all day, I watched, 10 Sting matches, 10, 11
We
Sting
watched
matches.
probably more than that, actually, because we had some some time off when we were chilling and eating before the show, and we were like, let's just watch more Sting. So we watched a full day's worth of Sting.
So, spent all day, hours and hours watching Sting, then talked with Nate for almost 3 hours about the entire career of
I think
Sting.
It was over 3 hours, but yeah, maybe.
And then throw on Dynamite and get this, maybe the best promo of Sting's career, potentially, his last promo as an active wrestler, bringing up the passing of his father and how the Young Bucks attacked his family. And in all his 40 years of wrestling, no one's ever targeted his family, and he's not going for a match. He's going for a fight and all that. And just the pure emotion, it made me super emotional. And I think it was partly due to the day we had, but it was wow, I just spent a whole day watching the whole career of Sting. And then this incredibly powerful promo at the end where I'm just so ready for this match. And I think they've done such a wonderful job building for it.
Yeah, no, I agree. Sting sounded so good. And at first it was Darby, and you could tell Sting was beside him off camera. And then the camera then turns to Sting, and he just, made it so compelling for this story. I've actually really been enjoying the Young Bucks as this character, but I've been enjoying, it sucks to be hey, Sting's going to retire at this date. And now he's the tag champion. He's never lost in AEW. Clearly, the Bucks have to beat him, and then they get the titles, right? That's what should happen, right? He can't beat them, and then. But this promo, you're oh, I'd kind of want you to beat the Bucks. But
giving a little spoiler for our best match ever, we talk about how selfless Sting is as a performer, and we bring up a couple of moments during that show where, you know, Sting could have maybe been a bit more selfish. Because of that, I want him to win it. I want him to retain the titles, you know, retire these versions of the tag titles, because, you know, maybe it's time for a little refresh with them.
Sure.
Have set up a tournament. We know AEW love tournaments to crown your new champions. That maybe the Bucks, being heels and EVPs, can book themselves in the final anyway, and it's the winners of this tournament face them. But I don't know. There's something Sting will want to go out on his back, but the Bucks don't need to beat Sting here.
No,
I think especially with the angle of them beating up his kids and stuff, you kind of want to see Sting get his own back. So
yeah,
as far as I'm concerned, I'm actually really wanting Sting to not go out on his back, which isn't usually the case.
I kind of agree. Yeah. Like, look, you could easily have the Bucks win. Then they go, we retired Sting, which is kind of not really the case, but, you know, for storyline, you could go that route, but it would be a whole like moment, a whole thing. If he does retire as champion, they have to vacate it. And he's like, he goes undefeated in AEW essentially. And yeah, he's someone who would always do things for other people. So it would be nice.
You know, we're probably getting the "I'm sorry, I love you" thing, but this time
you're getting Ric Flair, because Ric Flair's this is a little tiny wrinkle that like you don't need it all, but Ric Flair has been off TV. We've been saying like, hey, is he even here anymore? And then he shows up this week with his ankle socks, no socks in his loafers as he gets out the car, and he basically says what we've been saying. He's like, oh, I thought I'd be a lot more like involved in this, and clearly I'm not, so I need to see what's best for me, and then goes into the Bucks dressing room. I'm like, yes, I mean, absolutely,
this is classic Flair and Sting, isn't it?
Yeah,
they're
exactly.
friends, and then Flair turns them in
every
time.
So
I
it's
like
a little
that.
like wrinkle in it that I'm like, you didn't even need to do that, and you did, and like I might be on my own, but I'm a big, you know, Rick, I'm like, yeah, fuck it, you got him here. We don't need to see Rick in AEW after Sting's gone anyways. So
does Flair take the Scorpion death drop?
Yeah, either the death drop or the Scorpion Deathlock.
Sure. But yeah, I'd love to see it. You know, you're setting up. It's going to be, I'm sorry, I love you, super kick. Sting catches the boot, turns it round, death drop, 1, 2, 3. Would be a nice little twist on it.
That would be a great finish, yeah.
I'm so ready for this match, and I think this whole pay-per-view looks incredible. I so wish I booked a flight to North Carolina for this. It just that close to Mania, and we knew we were going to be doing Mania for quite a while. Not going to happen, but it's a venue I'd love to go to. I've never been to North Carolina. I'd love to check that out as well. But this whole pay-per-view looks incredible, top to bottom so far. And with this closing the show, I think it's going to be such a memorable moment in wrestling, full stop. Definitely something we'll be talking about at end of year shows, I think.
Yeah, this pay-per-view looks absolutely stacked. I was going to say it's a 12-hour drive if you didn't want to fly, but that's a lot. So let's just watch it from home, sadly. But there's like over 16,000 tickets sold. Like this is going to be one of their most packed shows in recent memory here, but genuinely excited for this. Other stuff from Dynamite. I really love Sting's promo. Can't wait for that match. I thought Wardlow sounded good as well. I know he was shitting on Punk and Cody, and it was kind of some, I don't want to say low-hanging fruit, but he made it a way that it made sense. Like he did have matches with these people. He did kind of hurt Punk. I guess I thought it sounded good.
I heard some criticism of it, especially after a week after the Derby line, which, you know, I didn't overly care about too much, but this one did make sense. He's referencing people that he should have beat Punk in that match they had, and they were setting up for down the line a rematch with that for injuries, etc. So and the same with Cody as well. So I think his lines made sense this time round, and you know, you can reference people you've beaten in your career, like it.
Yeah,
I think that's okay.
Yeah,
it's not just the, you know, sometimes dropping a name for the sake of dropping the name and it not actually having much context.
He actually has wrestled these people in the last, little like, so it's fine. So we're getting the Meat Madness, right? Wardlow, Big
Lance Archer
Hobbs,
and Hobbs.
and Lance Archer. So the meat match coming. So you should add Keith Lee to the match to make it the meat match.
Is he healthy right now?
Oh, is he not? Okay, damn. But yeah, that was pretty good. So I know, just to circle back to the Young Bucks.
Sorry, I just want to go back to Wardlow for a sec. It's this Undisputed Kingdom thing just isn't working.
No,
I mean, I know it's kind of you had to kind of finish the angle with the Devil because MJF was going to be out, but Adam Cole is still ways away from being cleared. So it was just DOA, I think. And this promo from Wardlow, it made me almost be like, just leave the group, just not be in it. Because it sucks. Because this has been the most compelling thing of this group so far, was this promo that Wardlow cut, which had nothing to do with Undisputed Kingdom and didn't have the other lackeys around him. So it's just not working, unfortunately. Yeah,
it's not working. It's the injury, right? That's what definitely mucked it all up, but it made it a very bad angle for months, and still going on with this group. But maybe we'll see. Like, Wardlow should win the match on the pay-per-view just to give him something. But other stuff from this show, I was like, hey, they're booking Mox and Claudio versus FTR. I'm like, that's weird. They should probably book that for the pay-per-view. And then we watched the match and we were so sucked into it. And then they ended with a brawl where we like, oh, they are doing it again at the pay-per-view. So that is official. And to make things even crazier, this upcoming Wednesday on Dynamite, the Go Home for Revolution, is now a 6-man tag match. FTR and Eddie Kingston taking on the Blackpool Combat Club, Danielson, Mox, and Claudio. Like, what the hell? That is a pay-per-view worthy match right there. So holy shit. Can't wait for Dynamite and Revolution this upcoming week. But love that match on Wednesday. Also loved Hangman Page seemingly working the entire world for about a day before it came out that no, he wasn't actually injured. He was just really good at his job. And then he's also kind of a heel, because here he is dealing with Hook and RVD as his partners, who are like, in AEW sense, really beloved characters and guys, and he's just being an asshole. So it was kind of a fun dynamic there against it was Joe, Swerve. Sorry, Joe was on commentary, I think. Fuck, who was in? I can't even remember who was in the match.
Sorry, the 6-man.
Yeah, sorry, it was
RVD and Hook
and the Mogul Embassy. That's who it was. So Swerve and Cage, right? So going forward to like this pay-per-view, was this sort of an angle to maybe get Hangman out of the match? I'm not sure, but I do hope it still is the triple threat going forward. But I really like Dynamite this week. I thought it was strong too. I don't know if they're gonna pull him from the match or not. I feel the for once, like, the triple threat seems to make the most sense, you know? Yeah.
I don't know. Or it was just something for that match to, not have him be involved with the loss of the team, potentially.
I then briefly put on Collision, and I watched some parts of Rampage, and I wanted to, when I was saying, circling back to the Young Bucks in something that they should have done this on, I guess Dynamite is when they messed around with Tony Schiavone, right? They shoved him, or was that last week? I can't remember.
But on last week, I think.
But I think this was on Rampage. They basically go to the ring and they're like, "Hey Tony, we won't do anything. We're so sorry, Schiavone." And then they go, "Hey, here's a $25 Amazon gift card," which had me dying, because you heard the stories of Punk going around giving people gift cards and stuff in AEW.
Oh, okay, right.
So this was somewhat of their like little fucking Bucks type elite digs or whatever. But I'm super excited for a lot of this. But yeah, Collision had Danielson and Jun Akiyama, right? Yeah.
Yes. Who, for whatever reason, as soon as this match was announced, I've had Sade, Smooth Operator stuck in my head. But Jun Akiyama.
Nice. I think he's wrestling a bunch of shows in WrestleMania weekend. I think he's wrestling on the DDT show, actually.
Sorry, Sade is?
Yo, I wish. Sade Lovers Rock, man. Need to come back on that tour. She should be making some new music, actually. But that'd be sick. Sade at GCW Clusterfuck. Be good. Danielson, Jun Akiyama was pretty good. Got into it, and then really liked the stuff after the match with Danielson and Kingston kind of flipping him off, and then June is like, "Yo, that's my boy. What are you doing?" And
Yo,
then
what the
Danielson's
fuck
like, "Oh,
you
I'm
doing?
sorry."
Show this
And
guy
then
some
kicks him.
respect.
Kicks him in the balls, and it was some good stuff.
Love it.
But yeah, should we go through some predictions for Revolution? Go through the match card, because I don't think we'll be doing that. I don't think we'll be going live next Sunday, just because it would be before the pay-per-view. So I'm not sure quite know if we'll go live, because I know we have real jobs and stuff. So if we don't go live for a new Poison Rana next week because of Revolution, maybe we'll start up next on Tuesday with some thoughts on Revolution and everything.
Yeah, that sounds good to me.
If that makes okay sense for everyone else. But let's go through the Revolution show. So we got Sting and Darby taking on the Young Bucks, which we kind of went through our legit prediction of Sting and Darby should win undefeated here in AEW. So are we going with that? New champs?
Yeah, let's go with my heart here. Sting and Darby.
Yeah. All right. And then we have Orange Cassidy taking on Roderick Strong for the International Championship. I think Roddy should take the title from him.
Absolutely. I think
somewhat
Roddy, like we used to call him Mr. TV, right, on NXT. I think he's someone who can put on high quality matches kind of weekly, like we've seen Orange Cassidy do. This title reign with Cassidy, it doesn't feel the same as it did the first time round. You know, like he needed to get that win over Moxley, but since then, this reign hasn't had quite the same feel to it. He's still been putting on great matches, but I think it's time for him to move on. And he's someone I'd like to see mix it up in the world title scene as well. So yeah, I think Roddy, we said Undisputed Kingdom needs something, and maybe having another title is, going for that, the Undisputed Prophecy again might work.
The Undisputed Kingdom Prophecy.
Yeah.
I love Roddy. I know we just said that this group isn't working, but having him being pushed a little bit more might somewhat help. And he is good. He always puts on good matches, and he has been a kind of popular character in the last year here in AEW. Like, all the power to you. I'll always be a Roderick Strong guy. I love Orange Cassidy too. So there's always stuff you can do with him, and especially the best friends and stuff. So I'm going to go Roddy too. Sorry, Orange. We got Timeless Toni Storm and Deonna Purrazzo. So I liked the stuff this week as well with them kind of, unfortunately, that almost looked like an injury there with Madison Rayne. I hope she's all right. But the story and the split screen with the color and the black and white and stuff like that. Yeah. I think this match could be really good. And considering the fact these two have a lot of history together, they were best friends according to this story. I think they're going to go out there and absolutely kill it when it comes to the match. So definitely looking forward to it. Deonna can be hit and miss, but these two will have some magic, I'm sure.
Yeah, I'm hoping. I think this has potential to be one of the best AEW women's matches. And I hope it lives up to that. I think they've done a good job building this. Where you go with it, I worry that, with AEW's booking of the women's division, if Deonna loses this, she just becomes another Ruby Soho /
she should win.
Ember Moon / all these people they brought in. I kind of think she should win. And I think Toni Storm doesn't necessarily need the title for this gimmick. I think she's got to that level now where she's a character that doesn't need a title, and they'll find ways to feature her.
I think, the videos that she's been doing, she could be doing like sad movies, right? Because she's lost the title and everything. And I think she could spin off into things. But Deonna,
you could have Mariah May somehow inadvertently cost Tony, which starts a little feud between those two, which isn't involving the title. I know this company has far too many titles, but I do think something like a women's tag might help this division out a bit, because it will give something that other people can be fighting for when they're not going for that main title. But yeah, I think Deonna. I think Deonna should win this.
Deonna, and then like obviously with Mercedes Moné coming in, she'll be a big part of this division as well, and possibly be championed by Wembley or so. So we'll see. But I'm interested in this match, and I think Deonna should win. So I'm going to go with her. Another match I'm looking forward to, Eddie Kingston taking on Bryan Danielson one more time. The last time we saw these two fight on TV was just chef's kiss, and they beat the shit out of each other. And now we got videos of Eddie Kingston training at Sabatelli's gym, getting ready.
Okay.
He's fucking
Right.
He's ready. He's not being called a bum anymore. He's getting ready for this match. And if, like I said, the last time they slapped the shit out of each other, so this time they're going to go balls to the wall. And the storyline, I'm seeing Chris Jones again in the chat saying, sorry, but I've had enough of seeing Bryan rolling around on the mat with elderly Japanese blokes. Honestly, it's been the story for this thing. Eddie Kingston's like the whole like, oh, I love old Japanese wrestling and my idols and my heroes and Triple Crown champions. So Danielson's like, all right, bet I'm going to beat up everyone you love just to piss you off even more. He's just trolling the guy. So Danielson is so great at like being one of the most beloved wrestling characters ever. And in a fucking flip of a hat, he can be heel for like 2 months. And then one day he's like, oh yeah, wait, no, you still love me though, right? You still love me. And then you're back at being a babyface. So I think this is a match people are somewhat sleeping on because it's like, hey, we've seen this before, but this will bang.
There's something about as well. This is being Danielson's last year as a full-time professional wrestler.
Yeah,
it's bucket list stuff for him. He's ticking off, I think.
Yeah,
I'm quite happy to see it, especially on a show like. I think Collision is a good place for that, to do those kind of matches. I'm looking forward to this, but I do see Eddie winning again. I think you've got this the gimmick of the handshake and the respect. You're not really going to introduce that and not do it. I think the character of Eddie needs to beat Danielson more than Danielson needs to beat Eddie. But I loved their match on Dynamite a couple of months ago. I think I preferred that one to the Mox Eddie final. So I'm looking forward to them going at it again. I'm sure this will be great.
Something else that is announced from last week, we saw Daniel Garcia cut a great promo, and then Christian Cage comes out and cuts even a more scathing promo on Garcia, revealing some things about his parents and his dad, right?
Yep.
I'm sure Christian was watching Sting's promo earlier and was like, Sting.
Sorry, how many? Yeah. There's one Dynamite left.
I can still get that dig in. Christian's just like licking his lips there. But yeah, great promo from Christian as well here on Garcia, basically saying like, hey, doesn't your dad live at this address? Which the internet was quick to realize is the address of a cemetery in Buffalo. So very evil Christian Cage, basically like, oh, I hear people are saying Drew McIntyre is the player hater of the year, huh? All right, hold on a second. Whose dad's dead? Let me talk about it. And then just goes off yet again, making just such great. I can't wait for this match because now it's official. Revolution, Christian versus Daniel Garcia for the TNT title. And I kind of hope they give it to Daniel Garcia. So therefore he can take this title and spin it off into a bunch of other stuff and take a run with this title. And therefore allowing us Dynamite in Toronto in a few weeks, Christian Cage versus Adam Copeland one last time in the dot here in Toronto would absolutely be the right booking. And I don't think you need the TNT title for that necessarily. But either way, this is a match I didn't necessarily think we'd get. And Garcia Christian, I think will be great.
Oh, absolutely. I think that makes a whole lot of sense. Obviously Adam Copeland's not booked on this pay-per-view, but I absolutely see him having.
He's costing him there. Yeah, he's going to cost him the title.
I think he costs. It's a way. Adam Copeland doesn't need this TNT title, and I think if you were to put it on him, it's then like, okay, then what do you do? I think he's fine without the title. You can push him into a world title feud at some point, but for now, this is a great way to get the title off of Christian. Get it onto Daniel Garcia, who's someone they've been building up pretty nicely since the beginning of the Cruiserweight not the Cruiserweight Classic, Continental Classic. This kind of caps off that story. And then Garcia can just be having great matches defending this title, be more prominent. And then you've got another reason to go back to Christian versus Adam Copeland, because Christian's been like, nah, I beat you. We're over. Whereas now it will be Christian wanting to face Copeland because of him losing him his pride and joy. And obviously you've got Big Business, which is a big show as well. But I do think the Toronto date makes the most sense to cap this.
Please. Like, I've watched these two live for absolute years, and I was at the last time they fought in Toronto in the front row, losing my mind. So I would really like to, we're going to be going to this Dynamite, and shout out anyone who's going to Dynamite in Toronto. Join us for our Dynamite after party with wrestling karaoke and games and prizes and wrestling drinks at Sneaky D's. If you're unfamiliar, check out our stuff. But I think that would be like a perfect match. They've dropped the prices on a lot of the tickets here in Toronto. They've sold some more. They've moved some more. I know it's over 3,000. It might be around 4 now. I'm not sure, but the crowd will be there for Edge and Christian for sure. So definitely looking forward to that. And as again, Torontonian selfishly really want that match. You could have it's still for the title and make it a ladder match, because those two in ladder matches and stuff. But either way, just having them on the show.
They kind of did use all of that in their last match though, didn't they?
I still kind of want to see it. I told you I'm mad about the first time they had a ladder match against each other, and it was kind of not that great. So I'm like, you need to fix that, guys. You fix that. But yeah, looking forward to that match with Christian and Garcia at Revolution. We also mentioned the Meat Madness match: Wardlow, Hobbs, and Lance Archer. Oh, and someone else to be added as well, apparently. So either way, Wardlow should win this match.
Yeah, he needs to. They're the guy. He's the guy that they're trying to build up again right now.
And then we mentioned FTR versus the BCC guys as well. So that should be fucking great. Oh, and then the main event, I think I skipped over, which is, I skipped over another match. Will Ospreay and Konosuke Takeshita, which will be the match of the night easily. Like, someone's getting their head knocked off in this match. Like, these two are going to kill each other. Like, no doubt about it.
I know it's Ospreay's first match officially in AEW,
right?
As an official roster member, but I kind of think Takeshita should win this. I think
Takeshita should cheat.
You have Callis and the family screw Ospreay out of this win, but Takeshita's someone that he's got the win over Kenny, he's got the win over Jericho. I think he should win this and continue and be elevated, have a world title program down the line. I don't think, yes, wins and losses matter, but Ospreay's so spectacular. I think everyone should be aware of him by now who's watched AEW from his Forbidden Door appearances and that sort of stuff. I don't think if Ospreay loses, they're jobbing Ospreay, this is over. I don't think that's the case at all. So I think there's maybe a bit more juice to have out of a Takeshita win.
Yeah, I'm not mad at that at all, easily, because they've been so hot and cold with Takeshita, and hopefully they get it right. I think he's on the right track now, and having a win like that could put him into the next level. Like, he could be someone you face Garcia and beat for the TNT title or something like that, or down the line. There's so many different titles, but Ospreay, like, he's already been in AEW. He's won some high, marquee matches here in AEW already, and having him lose might bring him down to, we're not like, he's undefeated. I think he's been defeated or whatever. But anyways, I think this match would just be the best match on the show.
Yeah,
between the two of them, like, these two are gonna kill it. So can't wait. It just needs to go to Ospreay being gone from the Callis family. Like, he should not be associated with them.
Absolutely should not be in that
anymore.
thing.
So I think going forward, either way, Ospreay will be potentially main eventing Wembley this year. So this match, I'm just so excited. Yeah. And then the main event, the triple threat for the AEW championship: Joe, Hangman, and Swerve. I think Swerve is winning this one.
Yeah, you could go all three ways, really. I think there's still a lot you can do with Joe as a champion. And as I said, if you have Takeshita win that match against Ospreay, like, Joe and Takeshita down the line could be something interesting.
Oh, wow, yeah. True.
I think as well, sorry, what else? Swerve. I think Swerve winning, capping off his story, seems good as well, but maybe do the full flip with Hangman a complete heel and Swerve chasing him for the title to win it could be something you could do as well. So I'm I don't know.
I love heel Hangman so much. I like.
Fuck it. I'm gonna say heel Hangman.
Yeah, with the stash and everything, man. He looks like
Yeah.
he looks like such a great character. Like the way he looks right now with the stash and everything, and the way he's been acting, slow burning of this evil Hangman. I'm here for it, and I could go any way with this triple threat because I kind of don't want Joe to lose. At the same time, I'm like, we could have more of this big boss man Joe.
There's definitely more we can have.
Yeah,
We've had what?
I changed my mind
defense so far.
No, I changed my mind. I don't know if we need Hangman and Swerve yet, but part of me does think it's going to flip. But I kind of want Joe to keep it, just to keep the Joe going.
I mean, it's a way like Joe winning can protect everyone as well by having Swerve and Hangman are so focused on each other that Joe picks up the scraps, that kind of thing.
It's just like, what would you do with those two after, right? It's like tough. Yeah. It's tough. But either way, this card is one of the most stacked cards they've had in quite a long time. And they got a huge crowd that's going to be there, 16,000+. So Sting's last match, Greensboro. Let's go, baby. It's going to be fucking awesome. So definitely jealous of anyone going there. Let us know if anyone in the chat or listening is going. We'd love some feedback from your live perspective. But we'll be watching that next. We're going to have some friends over for that one for sure. So looking forward to it.
I'm tempted to just say fuck it and go, to be honest. This show's looking so good.
It's really, it will be one of the best shows of the year. If not, it'll be really hard to top this especially with the Sting retirement and everything too, right? That's just something added is so special to it.
I wonder if I could fly in, fly out, avoid a hotel and just
go and come back. Okay. How much is a flight?
I'm looking.
Some other things that happened in the world of wrestling. I mean, I watched a lot of wrestling this week, but I sadly did not have time to check out the New Japan show, which all I know coming out from it is, remember David Finlay beat Ospreay and Moxley at Wrestle Kingdom and then became the Continental Champion? Global champion, right? My mistake. The global champion. Well, David Finlay just lost that title to Dolph Ziggler, Nick Nemeth over in Japan. There for anyone interested. I would check it out. I didn't really think that was the right call with Finlay. He wasn't really doing it for me. But now with Ziggler, maybe they'll go push him really hard as one of their big stars. And then on the other end of the spectrum, Tanahashi, you know how we kept saying that that title he holds, the TV dinner tray, the rolling tray title. Well, it really is a rolling tray now because Matt Riddle has defeated Tanahashi for this championship. And I don't know how much rolling he's going to be doing over in Japan, but I'm sure he's flying back real quickly to get over that. Or he's got the pens, But either way, Riddle is a champion over there now. So the Gaijins taking over New Japan Pro Wrestling. But and then the moment with Okada and Naito where they had this like final standoff, and basically Naito spits in Okada's face, which causes them to then fight. So they don't have a match, but they like fight. And I guess setting up your main event for Forbidden Door 3. Okada representing AEW and Naito representing New Japan. Yeah, I'm joking, but that's probably the fucking match. So get ready, New York's Queens, in June, because that's where Forbidden Door is going to be in Arthur Ashe, which is pretty crazy as well. So
yes, is that confirmed now?
It's not confirmed, but a lot of people have been reporting that this
looking
news.
Very unlikely.
So could be good. Forbidden Pour 2, New York, Queens. It's
When's
right
that, June?
Yeah, good time to go. We'll see. So yeah, there you go. Lots of stuff going on in.
I honestly, I completely forgot New Japan were having a show last night. It was Okada's last match, right?
His actual last match. Yeah.
I like looking at things on Twitter. I haven't heard too many good things about this show so far. Okay, some interesting title changes there, but I probably am not ever going to go back and watch this show, to be honest.
Yeah, no, I'm excited. If you were to announce some bigger Ziggler stuff, definitely would get some attention. But they're in a bit of a restructuring phase with letting a lot of these guys go. Like they've lost their A and B with Ospreay and Okada. Like to me, anyways, that last show was legit their series finale for a while. They need to Tanahashi, Presidente. He's lost that TV title, so he's going to have to focus his time on fixing whatever is going on in New Japan.
Yeah.
But hopefully they gain some momentum again. But they have lost a lot of their stars. I think Suzuki was hinting at leaving New Japan as well. Like there could be a lot of people jumping ship. Who knows? We'll see. Tony's just going to hire everyone from Japan. He's just like, yeah, we don't need New Japan anymore. I can do the Tokyo Dome is what he's thinking. And then anything else in the world, I saw that Seth Rollins at the Elimination Chamber presser after the fact had a great line in a line. He was asked a question and he was asked about CM Punk. And Seth said, I don't want to say I told you so, but me and a lot of other people told you so. What's the line again? Fragile mind, fragile body, fragile ego. I think somebody that I know, I think somebody that I know said something like that about him, and it rings true.
Wow.
I can be critical of Seth, but Seth dropping bombs. As soon as Seth is cleared, which like he said should be like soon, this motherfucker needs to step up. He can't let The Rock be calling him Cody's wife. You got to step up, Seth. You got to pin The Rock.
He's pinning The Rock. I'm going
for it.
I'm 100%. I think that makes the most sense and is best for.
You're insane, but I'm for it now. Like it's such an insane thing to think this guy is going to pin The Rock. But man, I think him
pinning The Rock makes his title seem more legitimate. It can continue the feud. It can set off the feud between Roman and Rock. It's having your world champion lose the night before defending his title doesn't help himself and doesn't help the person who's challenging for that title. So
I think Drew will cost him the match
against The Rock. Okay.
You need a shirt, man. You need a shirt. Yo, that's your Mania fit, dog. You need a shirt that just says Seth's pinning Rock.
Seth's pinning Rock, just in the block white, like the Rock style t-shirts.
Seth pinning Rock. Seth is pinning Rock, something like that. Oh man, I wish you were right, but I did like.
I mean, last time I wore a Seth shirt to Mania, he won the title at 31. Right. Yeah, so maybe.
Yeah.
I like that. I'll have to go and check that out. Yeah, I think Seth has been pretty good on the mic recently. I think when he's dropping his character a bit and seeming more like a real person who has real kind of like intentions and goals and hatred for people, etc. When he's dialed into that, it works, it clicks. So yeah, and you're right. He needs to get a little bit back on Roman and Rock moving forward. But great start with CM Punk there.
Yeah, definitely. So there we go. We covered everything that was going on.
There was just wanted to mention about Jennifer Pepperman being signed by AEW. I don't think we've gone into that, but kind of this with Mercedes coming in soon, who I imagine is going to be one of the top paid talents on that roster. Really means that they've got to give more focus to this women's division, and
they will.
Pepperman coming in from WWE, being like one of the writers, one of the longest serving writers there at the time, and focusing a lot on the women's division is going to help that. People saying that she's kind of like Brian Gewirtz to The Rock, like her personal writer, perhaps. But interested to see. I think they're building up the roster pretty nicely, especially if you have the likes of Britt Baker and Jamie Hayter returning. I think like 2024, you could see being absolutely the strongest year of women's wrestling in AEW.
Yeah, absolutely. And like WWE is killing it too. Look at the stars they have with Rhea, Becky, and so forth. So yeah, like I said, it's a great time to be a fan right now. There's so much to watch, and there's so much that you can't even keep up with, right? Like Impact had a show on Friday and everything. And I know they're going through their whole hourglass emoji thing and Scott D'Amore exit and stuff. So it's like,
should we talk about that?
It's actually, I think I got to go. Dinner's calling, so I got to get out of here. Appreciate everyone listening to us, though. Anyone in the YouTube chat or the YouTube replay, appreciate you. Hit that subscribe. We will be back on Tuesday night on the post feed to talk about some NXT, and then we'll We won't be back on Sunday because of Revolution, but then we will be back on the following Tuesday to chat about it. So follow us on all the socials at Poisonrana Pod, Twitter, Instagram, to see all the stuff that we post, including lots of shows. We have lots of free shows here. We just had a Wattup with B and Siino chatting about love and WWE and One Love, the Bob Marley movie, and Madame Web. Jordan and I just did a detox where we talk all about some random shit, including some AI music and some listener questions and some WWE music actually in chat as well. And then over on our Patreon, like we said, that profile on Nation of Domination and our best match ever Sting coming out later this week. So many podcasts, and it's only $5 to support your boys. So go do that. Check out all our shows out and let us know what you think. Always love the feedback. So appreciate everyone in the chat. I myself, Braden Herrington. You can find me Twitter, Instagram. I am at the Bray D.
And you can find me at Davie Portman.
That's it. That's all. Take care. Goodbye. Be safe. And Seth is pinning The Rock.
Ahoy!
Poisonrana.